You know how sometimes a game doesn't punch you in the face, it just sighs, lean back, and quietly ruins your emotional stability for the next 40 hours? Yeah, that's what it feels like, but weirdly in a good way. I don't know what's more unhinged, the fact that Sam Bridges is out here dodging ghost whales and delivering body wash to remote bunkers like a one-minute Uber Eats apocalypse. Or the fact that somehow this mess of inventory Tetris and existential dread actually works better the second time around. Now, before I even tell you what this game is, let me paint you a picture. A dude in astronaut boots climbs a ridge with 200 kilograms of gear duct taped to his back, slips on a pebble, face plants into a river, and loses 3 hours of progress. And still, one of the most satisfying moments you've had in weeks. It's a kind of gameplay loop that should be a chore, but ends up feeling like therapy for people who cope through micromanagement. There's something deeply satisfying about learning to trust the weight of your own footsteps. Inspirational. Even when those footsteps are taking you straight into an invisible tar pit filled with ghost ants. This game is absurd, it's melancholic, it's genius, and the more time I spent with it, the more I started wondering, is this the most misunderstood AAA game series ever made? Stick around, because the way this game handles connection, solitude, and survival has way more going than people are giving it credit for. Alright, now you're thinking, wait, didn't we already do this game years ago? You're not wrong. But you're also missing the point. Death Stranding 2 isn't just a sequel, it's a recalibration, a remix. It's Kojima looking at the first game, nodding silently, and then whispering, let's make it even weirder, but functional. Set 11 months after the formation of the UCA, we find Sam Bridges, still haunted, still reluctant, doing exactly what he does best. Delivering stuff no one else wants to carry across terrain no one else wants to cross, while dodging enemies and no one else understands. And somehow it works better this time. The pacing is sharper, the systems are tighter, and most importantly, it doesn't take 10 hours to stop feeling like punishment. That alone deserves a trophy. This time around, Sam's hermit life gets disrupted by Fragile, who's basically pulled together a punk rock FedEx crew called Drawbridge. She wants him to help expand the chiral network again, because apparently in this post-apocalyptic America, no one else is capable of walking over a hill without snapping an ankle and losing 3 boxes of compressed air and adult diapers. And Sam doesn't say much, but he straps on his boots anyway. Good little soldier. Now here's a part that might trip up newcomers. Death Stranding is still a delivery sim, still a third-person action survival inventory management experience, but it's not about the what, it's about the how. It's about mastering the tension between fragility and function, between isolation and connection. And somehow that gameplay loop, take thing, carry thing, deliver thing, is more hypnotic than ever. The first big improvement you'll notice is the terrain. It's alive now, not literally. Come on. But it fights back in new ways. Weather systems have been turned into a full-on apocalyptic roulette. Rain doesn't just soak you, it ages your cargo, rots your structures, and pushes you to adapt constantly. Mudslides, wind patterns, aggressive terrain shifts. This isn't just a delivery sim anymore. It's a tactical logistic survival game with a philosophy degree. And that philosophy bleeds into everything, even the cutscenes. Kojima's still Kojima's. That hasn't changed. You'll get long, thoughtful, sometimes baffling moments of characters saying everything and nothing all at once. But the emotional tone, it lands. Sam isn't just a mute career anymore, he's a reluctant soul patched together with trauma, regret, and maybe just a little hope. He's tired, and that fatigue leaks into every step he takes. Gameplay-wise, the loop is still stacked. Prepare for a mission, pack your gear, plan your route, execute, and probably improvise once gravity and stupidity team up to body slam your progress off a cliff. But now you get into that loop faster. The tools come easier, the systems make more sense, and instead of fighting the game's learning curve for 10 hours, you're mastering it in 3. Upgrades are more meaningful too. Equipment can be customized, upgraded, and swapped based on mission types. Vehicles have real trade-offs, from light and fast bikes that handle like shopping carts on ice to cargo haulers that carry everything but steer like a drunken forklift. You can build zip lines, tram systems, and even use gravity platforms to hold massive loads until they break mid-run and drag your face first into a rock, of course. But here's the thing, that failure, that face plan, it's part of the magic. Death Stranding 2 doesn't try to hide its friction, it embraces it. You will fall, you will lose gear, you will scream into the void because your auto-build bridge somehow spawned 2 feet from where you needed it. But every time you get back up, there's a strange satisfaction waiting for you, because you figured it out. Not some waypoint, not some NPC, you. And while all of that is happening, you're not alone, even though you kinda are. This is still a connected world. Other player structures, signs, warnings, and ladders will start popping up in your game. Some helpful, some not so much. I'm looking at you, Jimmy. But they're there, quite proof that someone else struggled here before you, and that makes the silence feel full, not empty. Death Stranding 2 gets that. It gets that connection. It isn't about non-stop multiplayer or voice chat. It's about presence, about helping without meeting, about walking past a random sign that says, "You've got this," and weirdly believing it. So yeah, maybe it's still weird, maybe it's still niche, but Death Stranding 2 takes the skeleton of its original identity and rebuilds it with stronger bones. And this time, it knows how to walk without stumbling out of the gate. You start to realize just how much has changed in Death Stranding 2 when the first stealth section doesn't make you want to punch your screen. That's not to say this suddenly became Metal Gear with ghost whales, but it does mean the systems around combat, stealth, and traversal finally feel like they're pulling in the same direction, which is a good thing. The result is something shockingly fluid, if still occasionally absurd. The biggest win here is a balance between approach and response. Sam's not a soldier, he never was. He's not built for war, but the game doesn't punish you for engaging with conflict anymore. It feels like the devs finally understood that being capable of violence isn't the same as encouraging it. So now when things go sideways, and they will, you've got options. Not all great, not all graceful, but they're yours. Take the BTS, for example. They're still creepy as hell, still unpredictable, and still capable of ruining your day, but you're more equipped now, mentally and mechanically. You've got blood grenades, holographic decoys, bullet guns, electric pikes, and yes, even rubber bullets if you're trying to keep things PG. And the best part? None of these tools feel like a guaranteed win. They just feel like a fair chance. You're still outgunned, outmatched, and often out of breath. But now you can actually choose how to survive. Run, sneak, fight, or improvise. Usually all 4 in the span of 5 minutes. Human enemies have also leveled up. They're more tactical, more reactive, and a hell lot of more annoying. In the best way. They'll call for backup, use flares, pin you down, or try to flank you depending on what you're carrying. Get spotted in the wrong place, ooh, and you might find yourself in a full-blown ambush before you even get to throw your first bolo. The AI is not perfect, but it's clever enough to make you think twice before charging in like a man with nothing to lose and a backpack full of expired protein bars. And just when you think you've got the systems figured out, Death Stranding 2 reminds you that physics are still in charge here. You'll set up for the perfect stealth takedown, then trip over a rock, alert the base, fall down a slope, and watch your gravity cart break free like a pissed-off shopping trolley. And somehow it's still fun. That's what makes this game feel so alive. Failure isn't just possible, it's inevitable. But it's also part of the loop. Planning is survival. Every grenade, every ladder, every battery-powered forklift you try to wedge between 2 trees become a decision that shapes your journey. Nothing is wasted, even the mistakes. Maybe especially the mistakes. What's crazy is how even vehicles play into the chaos. On paper, they should make things easier. And they do, sort of. There's a variety of rides now. Fast bikes that handle like caffeinated goats. Cargo haulers that turn like sedated rhinos. And enemy vehicles you can steal but never really own. Oh. Each one brings its own flavor of utility and frustration. They're useful until they're not. Like when your overpacked hauler runs out of battery halfway up a cliff and you realize, oh right, I forgot to build a generator. Classic Sam move. But even those moments have this weird poetry behind them. You're never really safe in Death Stranding 2. There's always another slope, another weather system, another existential crisis shaped like a delivery deadline. But the game isn't trying to troll you, it's trying to prepare you. For what? That's the question that hangs over the whole thing like a storm cloud, and the game's smart enough not to answer it right away. Because here's the thing, Death Stranding 2 isn't just a better game mechanically. It's a better conversation with the player. It knows you might have bounced off the first one. It knows you're skeptical. It doesn't beg for trust. It earns it, piece by piece, zipline by zipline. It gives you tools faster, feedback quicker, encouragement in the form of a random player's ladder that saved your life for no damn reason except kindness. And you return the favor without even thinking. That's the power of this weird, lonely, interconnected system. You can feel it in the silence between fights, in the way the game paces exploration with restraint, letting you sit in the moment. There's no XP pop-up every 10 seconds, no dopamine overload, just you, your cargo, the terrain, and the knowledge that somewhere out there, someone else is struggling too. And maybe, just maybe, the ladder you built will help them across a canyon you'll never even see. That's poetic. That's the kind of connection in Death Stranding 2 that it just trades. Not flashy, not loud, just quietly human. At some point, usually right after your fifth faceplant into a ravine, you start to feel it. The weight isn't just physical, it's thematic. Death Stranding 2 is built on the idea that connection isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. But that connection, it's also dangerous. See, the first Death Stranding was about rebuilding, healing, reconnecting the fractured pieces of humanity. This one, it's asking, should we have? Because just underneath the high-tech gadgets and weird pseudo-science mumbo-jumbo is a big looming question. What if rebuilding the world also means reactivating all the stuff that broke it in the first place? Oh, you feel it in the new settlements. These aren't utopias. They're jaded, cynical outposts. People who've seen what connection can bring are now squinting at you like, nah, bro, we're good. We like our isolation. They're not saving the world. You're convincing it to care again. And that is way harder. The game reflects this with eerie precision. Drawbridge, Fragile's new career network isn't a government, it's a Hail Mary. It's an indie band trying to outplay Spotify, a decentralized lifeline copped together by a bunch of emotionally exhausted optimists. And Sam? He's the guy who said he was done, and then came back anyway, not because he believes in it, but because he cannot try. Cannot not try. That's the emotional core here. Not hope, no courage, reluctant responsibility. And that responsibility is heavy, just like everything you carry. The game's not subtle about it. You're always lugging someone else's burden. You're always making up for someone else's failure. And that's the genius of the gameplay loop. It's not just mechanics, it's a metaphor. You're literally walking through the consequences of a world that forgot how to be kind, one package at a time. Can you imagine? Even the upgrades reinforce that contradiction. You build tools to stabilize the chaos, bridges, zip lines, safe houses, you name it. But every time you drop a structure, there's that creeping feeling. Are we making the world safer or just rebuilding the same system that collapsed before? Is this progress or repetition with better graphics? Death Stranding 2 isn't afraid to lean into that discomfort. It lets you feel proud of your footprint while quietly asking if maybe your footprint's part of the problem. You pave roads, build supply roads, electrify the wilderness, and then walk past the ruin of some player's old ladder, rusted and broken, a digital fossil of good intentions. It's haunting, in a way no horror game ever manages to be. And yet somehow it's not depressing. It's weirdly uplifting, because every system in the game reinforces the idea that effort matters. The smallest bridge, the dumbest sign, the most awkwardly placed generator. Someone might need it. Someone might use it, and when they do, they'll hit that like button. That's it. No loot, not XP, just a silent nod from a stranger, and it feels better than loot. That's where Kojima's madness turns into method. All the weird, all the excess, all the slow burning, everything, it's not random. It's precise, it's intentional. You're not just delivering packages, you're delivering hope. One taped off, half broken box of printer ink at a time. And the game has the confidence to not over explain any of this. It trusts you to feel it. Sam doesn't monologue. There's no narrator spelling it all out. It's in the long walks, the moments where the music kicks in as you crest a ridge, the quiet when the BTS vanish, the sound of your heartbeat when you're bracing against the wind with half your stamina gone and 2 BTS sniffing your soul from the tar. It's the kind of storytelling that sneaks up on you. You think you're just trying to reach the next outpost, but you're actually navigating a meditation on isolation, grief, and the cost of rebuilding something that was never perfect to begin with. And then there's a humor. Because yeah, Death Stranding 2 is deeply philosophical, but it also deeply stupid in the most wonderful way. Sam slipping on a rock and launching himself like a human pinball into a river. Still hilarious. Accidentally loading a delivery drone with a pizza and watching it get swatted out of the air by a lightning storm. Incredible. Waking up after a long mission, checking yourself in the mirror and realizing you look like a raccoon that fought a blender. That absurdity doesn't clash with the tone, it enhances it. The world is broken, but it's not joyless, and every tiny failure, every ridiculous moment, and every time Sam awkwardly wipes out because someone thought it was a good idea to run downhill with 400 pounds of medical supplies strapped to his calves, it's all part of the experience. And the more time you spend in this bizarre, beautiful mess, the more you realize maybe connection is messy. Maybe rebuilding is supposed to be hard. Maybe the point of isn't fixing everything. It's just trying, even when it feels pointless. That's what Death Stranding 2 nails. Not just gameplay, not just design, but that deeply human, painfully relevant feeling that maybe, just maybe, we're all carrying a little more than we let on. And it matters when someone offers to share the load. There's a moment, maybe 20 hours in, when you're standing at the edge of a mountain pass. You've just crossed half the map, dodged a thunderstorm of ghost hands, patched up a broken leg with duct tape and painkillers, and you're looking down at the delivery you just barely kept intact. And all you can think is, this shouldn't be satisfying. But it is. And that's the paradox of Death Stranding 2. It doesn't reward you the way most games do. You don't win, you endure. You commit, you find your rhythm in the repetition, and somehow, without realizing it, you've become attached to every small success, every perfect balance, every shortcut you scouted by accident, every stupid ladder you dropped that saved your own ass 3 hours later. Most games give you power. This one gives you purpose. And that shift from being a hero to being necessary is subtle but powerful. It makes every decision count. Not because the game screams at you with consequences, but because you start to care about your own efficiency, your own momentum. And you're not just helping NPCs, you're building a world one zipline, one bridge, one package at a time. And yet, you're still just one guy. The world is still broken. Fragile's new career company, Drawbridge, isn't some utopian salvation. It's messy, unregulated. DIY logistics for a country that still isn't sure if it wants to rebuild. And that's what makes it hit hard. The game never pretends you're saving the world. You're just trying to hold it together long enough for someone else to care. Even the environmental design reflects that tone. You move through ruins of old attempts, half-built infrastructure, ghost roads, rusted ladders, the leftovers of someone else's best effort, and somehow that makes it feel more real, like you're part of a continuum. Like maybe this time, if you just get this route done right, it won't fall apart again. But it's not all philosophical. Death Stranding 2 is also unapologetically mechanical. Every step, every slope, every gram of cargo affects how you move. Now, more than ever, those systems talk to each other. You drop your center of gravity when you're sprinting downhill? Great. You pick up speed, but now your cargo is unstable? Add rain? Now your boots are slipping. Add weight? Your stamina drops faster. Then a BT shows up. You panic. You fall. You scream. Ah! You laugh. You rebuild. The loop isn't just gameplay, it's storytelling, it's consequence in real time. Combat has also grown up, not just more options, but smarter pacing. You're not stuck with avoidance as your only tool. You can engage, you can fight back, you can choose to escalate or sneak around. But the game never lets you forget fighting is a choice, not a solution. Violence carries weight. Kill too many people, leave bodies unattended, and the world literally starts falling apart with void outs, mini nukes of your own making. You're not a soldier. You're a survivor with tools. Big difference. And somehow, that Stranding 2 makes that difference matter. Every weapon in your inventory is another layer of responsibility. Bullet guns, electric pikes, blood grenades. They don't make you invincible. They make you accountable. Use them wrong, and things get messy. Use them right, and they feel like miracles. It's all part of this weird, thoughtful tension the game never lets go of. But let's zoom out. Because here's the big question, right? It's all this walking, all this wait, all this digital drama worth it? Is Death Stranding 2 actually fun? The short answer? Yeah, but not in the way people usually mean. It's not fun like a roller coaster. It's fun like solving a puzzle. Like finishing a DIY project you didn't think you were smart enough to pull off. Like looking back at a ridiculous improvised route you built and thinking, I actually did that. This is a game for people who like solving problems, who like systems that push back, who find joy in mastery, not spectacle. And if you're wondering whether Level Up Gaming would buy this game, absolutely. Not because it's flawless, not because it's trending, not because it's normal, but because it's different. Because it has a vision, because it commits to the bit in a way that's almost rare now in the industry. It's bold, weird, awkward, gorgeous, and above all, it's honest. It knows what it is, it knows what it isn't, and it doesn't waste your time pretending to be something else. And that's refreshing. Yes, the UI is still clunky, the menus are a war crime, and sometimes Zen moves like he's been drinking battery acid. We've all been there. But all of that somehow fits, because the world itself isn't smooth, it's jagged, unforgiving, just like the game, just like us. And that brings us back to the ending of our journey. Because what really stuck with me wasn't the cutscenes or the gadgets or even the gorgeous engine work, it was the silence. The moments between deliveries, the footsteps echoing in the canyon, the sudden roar of a storm, the blur of a rainbow that signals death is nearby. And through all of that, a random sign left by a stranger that just says, keep going, it hits different. Because this isn't a story about saving the world. It's a story about carrying it piece by piece together. Piece by piece. Okay. Do me a favor, smash that like button like it's the last can of Monster Energy in a world that forgot caffeine. And let's hear from you in the comments. Do you get Death Stranding, or are you still standing outside looking in? What's your weirdest in-game delivery fail? And did you rage quit or rebuild? Subscribe to Level Up Game and don't forget to tap on that notification bell where we don't just cover the big titles, we walk the weird path, slip in the mud, and still show up with the delivery.